Surprise. Hi, it's Becky, not Ann. I'm hopping on because Ann's having some technical difficulties, and I'm going to go ahead and wait for you guys to hop on over here. We'll have to how are we going to let you guys know? We got to let you guys know somehow. Okay, people are showing up. Hi, Arlene. I'm going to go ahead and do my project, and then Ann can come on in an hour. So let's see. I need to be off. We're going to just say I'll be off at 9 o'clock my time, and then Ann can come on at like 9:05 or whatever. So, hey, let's play. And my inspiration is our wonderful Shell C. I could sit and watch Shell C paper piece every single day. It's something I've been wanting to try. So let's go for it. I've already done a sample, but I don't want to show that to you until we've gone through the process. So however far I get on the next one, I can still show you what it'll look like at the end. That's why I wanted to, do up the sample. So what Shell does is she creates these wonderful mixed media backgrounds. Sometimes she will draw something on the canvas and then she will leave it real colorful. In fact, if you look, one of her recent videos was art that you hang on the wall. They actually had a hop in their little group here on YouTube. I think it was last weekend or so. And they had a hop, and it was all about art that you create that you would hang on the wall. And the piece that she did was a small canvas like this. She did the real colorful background. Then she drew, which I don't feel comfortable drawing on my background just yet. So I'm going to do her other technique where she does a background and she takes a piece of tracing paper and traces it. And then she paper pieces on the tracing paper, and then she puts it on her wonderful background. So I made 3 backgrounds because I have 3 cats, and I'm going to utilize these backgrounds because I have similar pictures, if not these pictures, in a frame that's actually of the cats. So this is Callie, this is Tippy, and here's Howie. So what you do, Callie is this one I did a sample of. Okay, so you kind of get a peek there what you do. What I did is I took my tracing paper and I laid these are all dry. I laid it down and kind of went around it. So I have the area that I need to work in. I'm going to turn him around so I can manipulate it where I want to. And then you need to decide, this is how much surface I have to cover. You can move this around and decide, but I kind of like having maybe one of his ears and these whiskers and then have some background around him. And what I do then is get some masking tape. And if you have a light box, you could do this on a light box. But what I did is I just taped it to my big window over here. You might need to tape it somewhere that you're not going to have to draw lines. So maybe down here at the bottom. And then you take a pencil. I'm going to try to do this like right here. And then just, if you can draw whatever you want to put on your paper, you go for it. I'm more comfortable using the tracing paper, and you just go around the edges. This is something anybody can do. And his chin is down here, which I need to put that up against the window, but you get the idea, okay? And then you're going to trace every part of him, or whatever you're doing. And this looks like part of his head here, like I've gone too far down. And you can erase on the tracing paper. And then his other ear is here. And then I've got his eyes, and for some reason he was squinting at me. I don't know if he had a wise idea or what. And you want that to be dark, so kind of just color it in. And you want the shape of his nose. And again, I would benefit from being in front of the window. It's hard to see. But you get the gist of it, okay? And then you're going to mark out the dark areas, like Tippy is dark here, and he's dark on that portion of his ear, and then he's dark along in here, and he's dark along in here, and then just kind of shade it a little bit. These are just guidelines. All right. So I'm going to set Tippy aside. We'll pull Howie over here. So this is Howard, and you can see what I've done to Howard. I did it around his eye. I kind of did an inclination here of some shadowing. He's got a little bit more, like you might want to use a little bit darker, whatever you choose to use for your white. And then he's got a little darker area in here. But then at the top of his head, all of this is dark stripes. So he's got some real dark stripes, like right there. And then there's one here. He's a very pretty boy. He's got lots of those. So now we've got our image. So we can take this tape off from here. And now the real fun begins, because now we're going to paper piece him. And I'm just kind of going to, and this time I don't have a color image to go by, but Howard is basically a black and white cat. He does have some peachy orange on him, but it's on his hind leg. But I'm going to leave this over here so I can keep an idea of where his dark portions are. Like there's a little darker stripe here. I kind of want to keep an idea of that. I kind of marked it there. So I'm going to move the background aside because we're not going to need that for a while. What I have here is painty papers, and I have already tore up some in smaller pieces in big chunks because I got to thinking that might be good to do so that you're not having to watch me tear a whole bunch of great big pieces down. And I got a variance for his dark area. So like his real dark area, I've got some black, but then there's this dark purple I could choose to use. And then for his lighter dark areas, I'm going to use this kind of aqua blue. And there's some silver there that I might want to use with his white sections. So, and for everything that's white, I've got just a variety of book paper and music paper and stuff. And then for his pink areas, the insides of his ears and his nose, I'm going to use this kind of peachy pink paper there. And what Shell does is she uses just matte medium, I think, to put all of her components down. And you know what I didn't keep out is the green for his eye. Oh, there it is. I accidentally put it up. We need green because he has a very green eye. And she generally will tear all her shapes, but his eye is pretty round. So I'm going to kind of just eyeball a rounded area here. Just get it kind of to a round shape, and then I can trim it down. Keep your pieces because you never know when you need another little piece. All right. And pencil. So I know his eye goes like this. So I can trim that part away. Sorry about the shadow, guys. I was struggling to figure out where to put this light. All right, that looks pretty good. She uses the gel medium. In fact, Howard's in my chair. Howard, honey, I've got to have the chair that moves. Come here. I know, that one smells like Mom. Here, get over here. Let Mom have her chair. I'm sorry, buddy. Ooh, it's some work for me, though. Thank you. She uses the mat to glue everything down. I like the glue all because I have a little bit more control over it. So let's start making Howard appear here. And I got my wet ones handy because earlier I was a glue queen. And you just kind of fit his eyeball on there. And this glue all grabs pretty quick. I really kind of like it. I don't have a lot of wet ones left here. I should have grabbed some when Greg and I were out. I'm just going to keep this over here to kind of wipe my fingers on. And you just start adding tiny little pieces of paper. I was surprised at how long it takes. It's no wonder when you look at a piece of paper-pieced art that there's a hefty price tag to it. It takes a lot of time to do paper piecing. And Shell does sell her work. So that's Shell, S-H-E-L, and then the letter C. Just so you know. We got you, Ann. We're not gonna lose you. We'll get you to it. I just figured it might give you time to figure out what was going on, and we could keep the flow going. And you could just take a deep breath and do what you needed to do to figure out what was going on. Now, Howard does have this tremendous, I told him he shouldn't be wearing eyeliner, but he does have eyeliner on this one eye. So I'm trying to tear this piece of paper small enough. It's all these little teeny pieces. And I don't want to put a lot of glue on. I've got such a shadow when I go to do anything. All right. We're going to glue this on here. It would almost benefit me to put a little bit out on a piece of wax paper and get a toothpick, wouldn't it? That would give me more control over it. And if I go quiet, it's because I'm concentrating really hard. I just knew I could not do Callie in the time period. So I said, you know, I'll do her as my example. And that way, even if we don't get this one done all the way, I'll have it. Hi, Janet. Hi, Arlene. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Hottie Popo. Hi, Journey. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Mary. Who else? She is a blast to watch. I just love to watch Shell produce stuff. And I have been wanting to try this and wanting to try this. And I said, all right, the time is now. But really, you know, we should quit waiting. What are we waiting for? Try it now. Right? Try all the things now because you don't know what tomorrow brings. My grandmother used to tell me that all the time. And she would say, quit wishing your life away. Enjoy every day. And I never understood it because I just didn't want to be a kid. But now that I'm 57, I'm like, it can slow down anytime now, you know? And I know you ladies are out there saying, 57, you're just a youngin'. Now, the tracing behind does get all kind of wonky. And the reason Howard's ear is kind of blocked off is that's where the edge of the canvas is. We're not going to worry about that because he's going to fill up the whole thing. Let's go ahead. Oh, I was going to cut it, but it really does. It's more beneficial if you I forgot what I was going to say. Man. Don't put off until tomorrow what you can easily do today, and that includes trying new things. All right, so we're gonna rip this shorter and do this in pieces because it's giving me a hard time. Greg, quit tormenting your cat and let him be with you. Cole's like, let me out there. Thank you, Janet. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Violet. It's just one little teeny piece of paper after another. Once you get the whole, and we're not going to do anything. We're just doing Howard. We're not going to do anything here because we're going to cut him out along the outline. In fact, I need to make that darker because I got to see it from the other side. To cut him out, I got to remember to do that now because if I don't, and then this is the line where his head will meet the edge of the thing. Bear with me just a second. I meant to do that earlier. I ran into a problem cutting Callie out. And hi, Nettie. I'm going to save the rest of this black. Let's work on the kind of darker values on the white first, which I have this paper here. Howard, come back here. Let me hold you a minute. I'm going to plop Howard up over here. All right. Oh, thank you, Mary. What's wrong with Nettie? Oh, hon, feel better. We need our Nettie feeling good. This needs a little bit more dark. Even the tiniest little bit of paper. Shell will have you keeping everything I say don't hold on to sometimes. She keeps even the tiniest little bitty piece of paper. That's what I need. Something that the glue won't stick in. All right, now we're going to put some of this paper on underneath there. He has like a little shadow under his eye. I was trying to think what I could use for white. And then I thought, duh, book pages. Jeez. I'll spread that out with my paper. Have you ever seen those pictures? I don't know if they're Japanese or Thailand or China, where they do this kind of stuff on big pictures. And I'm going to hang these underneath my prints that I have. I'm hoping there's... He won't let you out? What's the matter? Cole. Out. What? Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. Cole, come on. I bet Greg's fallen asleep and he couldn't get out. Let's see here. And then I want a real thin strip to come down through here, because Howie's got a little bit of a thin strip. Sorry if I missed anything. If you have a question, if you put it in caps, I'm more likely to see it. Y'all are probably thinking, oh, that's something I'll never want to do. That's very time consuming. But hey, you never know. You might have a rainy day. You need something to do. Here you go. Rip up paper in tiny little pieces and go for it. After this is goes through processing, I will add Shell's channel to my description box, as well as a link to the hop that her group put together. And that's generally that's Peg Robinson and Shell C and Gina Ahrens and Cindy Utter, and I can't remember who else is in that group. I do know they are doing some kind of classes or something over the summer, if anybody's looking for something like that. And then in our little chat, craft and chat that we do in Ann Lahr's group on Thursdays and mine on Wednesday nights, Ann was talking about some classes that you could have access to for a very, like, it was really reasonable, like $15, I think you said, Ann? It was Carla Sandheim, wasn't it, that you were mentioning? And don't worry about overlapping at all. And like I said, Shell uses the matte medium, but I found that this works too. Oops, come on. Howie needs his eyeliner. It's very slow going. Let's see here. He's got a little bit of a darker section. I think it's just a shadow. But I wanted to use this darker book paper in those areas. Yeah, don't worry about overlapping, because we're going to put more paper on until he's all covered in paper. $90 lessons from Carla Sondheim for $15. That is an unbelievable deal. She teaches a lot about the art journaling, right? It's art journaling and doing cartoons and that kind of adding cartoons to your journaling. I'll get all these in, and then we'll cover up the white bits here. And it looks kind of creepy while you're going along, but once you get him all covered in paper, and don't be afraid of going past your lines if you're on an outer edge. But when you're in like this area where I'm trying to note where his mouth is here, I am going to want to stay in those lines because that'll help me later on. So if I tear this around, this one might actually be better because I could come off the edge of the paper. There we go. We'll just put a little bit. Oh, there's some glue right there. This is very fiddly. But when you guys see my sample, you'll see why it's worth it. And I'll show the sample in a little bit. Just trying to get his mouth area and around his nose. Ann says Carla has a lot of free content available, which is like bonus. Well, I have enjoyed everybody I've caught up with in between feeding Scott and taking Greg out to eat for supper and that kind of thing. I'm still missing a couple, but I'll catch them. I'll catch up. I caught just the closing of Beth, so I got to go back and watch the beginning of Beth. Hi, Rady. Lori Richards was saying she's been having trouble catching me, and she has all of the stuff turned on, and I sent her a message or replied to her comment, and I said, I think it's a YouTube thing because a lot of people have been saying people aren't getting the notifications. All right, let's get this on here. And then he needs his little pink nose, which that was fiddly. It was fiddly getting a nose shaped out here. Oh, come on. Now it's going to start sticking everywhere. That's what I ran into earlier. Time to clean my fingers. All right, let's see if we can get a nose kind of shaped out here. Oh, no, I might cheat and cut his nose out. Let's get a basic top shape done here. All right. Let's see how close I got here. Oh, that's not too bad. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're just trying to fill it in with the paper. This needs to be cut out more. Did I go too far that time? I'm going to cut this off here. All right. Bear with me. This is a fiddly bit. And remember, we don't have to worry about the side because we'll be cutting this away anyway. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. I think Barb did this one time for Charlie, didn't she? When yeah, I think Barb Owen did that for Charlie one time. She did and for the the puppy. Why can't I remember her dog's name right now? Brain checked out, but y'all know her little dog. Howard, you might have a little bit bigger nose than you're intended, but sorry, buddy. All right. And then he's got a little bit of dark area on the top of his nose, which we'll put a ripped piece up here because it's kind of in shadow to the side of his nose. Like so. It's 8:35. Ooh, get up there. So with this, you don't really have to know how to draw to do some art because you're just using a tracing and attaching little teeny pieces of paper. For some reason that says Stevens on it. Stevens. Oh, my phone's going off. One of y'all's messaging. Do I need to look at it? Or am I okay to wait until I'm done? You do need to let this dry before you try to cut it out. And because the tracing paper is so thin, it will buckle and carry on a bit. Don't worry about that because it's not going to matter in the long run because you're going to be gluing it to the canvas that I've prepared already. Which I knew I wouldn't have time to do the canvases and the paper piecing. So that's why the canvas is already done. All right, I'm going to just tear some little pieces and just go kind of up his jaw right here so that I have an area. Because once you get it all pieced, attached to the canvas, and glued down, that's what I just said, attached to the canvas, then you're going to come in and you're going to use Stabilo All, some paint pens, and that kind of thing to bring out the traits. Highlights in the eye and that kind of thing. as you're doing this, you might have to take a break and go really wash your hands, because there's only so much a wet one can do when you start getting super sticky. Sometimes I feel like we need like an after the show party after everybody's been to all the hops members. I think it'd be fun to have an after the show kind of get together sometime, whether it's after everything or the next day. Wouldn't it be fun to have an after the show party? And that way, if somebody had a question from anybody that was in the hop, they'd be there. I know not everybody's, into the rooms and things, but I tell you what, it's really meant a lot to me to be able to get together with some of the gals. All right. All right. So that's all the areas that are a little bit darker. And then you just keep going, and we'll fill in all this other area down here with white papers. And you can use a little bigger pieces now. Let's put a piece here. And don't worry if you cover up some indication for like where his whiskers are and all of that, because you can put them back in when you do the paint pens and such. So once you get the tiny little pieces on that denote different things, shadows and such, then you can start just adding your paper to fill in what's left. I'm going to do some of this down here, but then I think I need to do some of the stripe just so you guys can see that. So let me glue this on down here. And this is just random book paper, so it's nothing fancy or anything. It's just pages ripped out of books and stuff. If you wanted to, you could like take your time and collect colors from a magazine, like magazine ads or even a grocery ad. You could just tear it up into the different colors and use it. And we'll just keep filling it in. You see. Hi, Tanya. My leg's cramping. I gotta stand up a minute. All right, let me get this on here. I'm using a palette knife. If you have a plastic Bondo spreader, Shell has that little brush that's made to use with Mod Podge. She uses that. So let's take a break from the white sections. Y'all kind of get the idea of where I was headed with that. Fireworks. Sorry, guys. We're still only a week out from 4th of July, so they're still going. All right. I'm going to turn him so he's facing you, and I'm going to start working on his stripes at the top up here. All right. So on him, the area that would look pinkish here is actually not. It's kind of in the grays. So I think that's where I'm going to use these silver pieces because it's in a shadow. And you know, when you tear paper, this is just a tip. When you tear paper, you want to tear, when you tear away from yourself, this side of the paper, when you're bringing this side up and this side goes down, the side that's in your left hand will have a white edge. The side that's in your right hand won't. So if you don't want any white edges, the best thing to do is to think about which way you need to tear it to end up with nothing. So I always put the side that'll end up with white in my left hand, and then when I pull it away, I end up with a piece that doesn't have that white paper on it. All right, I'm going to pull this off and do this in bits. All right, put a little bit of this down here. And I'll just keep doing that until his ear is full of stuff. And if you go over the edge of where we're going to cut it out, then you'll end up with a smooth edge on your finished result. And that's one reason I wanted to make sure I could see that line from the back side. That way I can lay this over that line and it'll just get cut away nice and smooth. The only place you can't do that is on internal lines. The external lines, you can make more adjustments. Okay. Okay, got just a little bit left here. I'm not too worried about the white edge showing at this point because I'm up here where I'm going to switch colors anyway. So that's pretty good for the inside of his ear. I've got a paper towel here to kind of keep the moisture level down. I didn't mean to put the wet one on there. All right. So let's see. Now this is where we need to start bringing in the really dark colors. And you just start working around an area. If you can't avoid having some white exposed, don't worry about that. You can make those adjustments later too. He needs another little piece of silver right there. I'm just going to put Oh, big blue right there. How am I doing on time? Got 10 minutes. Generally what I do when I'm doing, or what I did with the one I did earlier that I'm going to show you here in just a sec, is I'll go through and I'll put the lighter value in first. So everywhere where it's just really light colored along in here, all that I'll go ahead and put this color down. All right. He does have a little bit of dark along the edge of his ear, which I can put in. Let me do that real quick here. Ann Hund, how are you doing? You got it all figured out now? Remember, I'm on an outside edge. I'm going to cut a lot of this away. But some of the lines you can adjust with your Stabilo all is what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. But I do want to have a little line of dark along his ear here. Okay. So now I'll start adding this blue. And I've got it in bigger pieces here. So overlap the black you just put on, because you want it to just look kind of like an outline along his ear. Did I get it all the way up to the top? And I will be trimming a lot of this away. All right, so you guys want to see the sample I did earlier? Because like I said, this takes time. And see, I can keep working on this. And I've got to do one of Tippy too, because I'm going to put the three of them next to each other on the wall. I'm going to show you the sample now. So you kind of get the gist of what you you're headed for. I'm going to go off at 9 o'clock. And so if you want to be ready by 9:05, you know, if you've got it worked out, I'll leave that up to you and Mary. All right. You're going to cover the thing in your paper, working your stripes in and all of that. Then you're going to let it dry. Let it dry really good. It was real hot today. I set it out on the one I did earlier out on the porch, and then went out and got it. Okay, here it comes. You ready? Because I still can't get over how cute this turned out. I'll keep working on Howie while I watch everybody else, but here you go. Here's Callie. So once you get this dry, cut out your shape, and you can see your line on the back. Just make sure your outer line is real dark, so you can see it from the back side, and you'll see what it looks like when it's all done up. So you let it dry, you cut it out. This is where I use the I've got this heavy gel medium. That's what I use to adhere the piece, because it's holding the tracing paper and then all this other paper that's glued to it down. Then you take in your Posca pen and you put in the whiskers, and you know, denote a little bit more on the nose, like some lighter areas maybe. You add the black around the eye, and put the iris and whatever highlights is showing. And then I just added little hairs here and there. So I just love how she turned out. Now, you'll notice on this background, you've got some areas here. This is what my background looked like when I attached Callie. So on the areas like right here, I just took my wet one and just really rubbed to get the first layer of paint back off, just so some of the pretty colors from my background could show through. So I'm going to once I get all 3 of them done, I will be putting a finish on them, like um, the ultraviolet spray. I'll spray them with that. A clear coat. Clear coat is what I'm thinking. But you can knock your white paint back off some with just your wet one. Just really scrub it. And then that exposes the real colorful background that you started with, and just gives a hint that maybe she's just in the land of art somewhere. So I'll do the same with Tippy and Howie as well. But I thought you guys would like to see that. And I've been dying to try Shell's method for a very long time. I think I'm addicted. It's just very time consuming. I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank Mary for putting this together. As always, without Mary, we wouldn't have come together like this and done these months. So this has been awesome. And I hope Shelly can join us next month. I love to hear her voice, Shelly, if you're listening. And we'll see you guys in the next one. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now in case somebody needs an extra 5. I need something to drink. So thank you so much, you guys. This has been an awesome stream. Bye. Bye, Mary Lou. Bye, Kathleen. Bye, Ray D. Bye, Mary. Bye, Gail. Bye, Lisa. Who else? Bye, Tanya. Bye, Mina. Bye, Nettie. I'm scrolling back up to say bye. Bye, Janet. Bye, Allie. Happy birthday, Allie. Bye, Joy. Bye, Rachel. Bye, Ann. See you at your place. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.